Inspiring Waitress exposed, humiliated by Millionaire, she reveals amazing fluency in 7 languages. Emily wiped a bead of sweat from her brow. Tuesday afternoons were always a whirlwind at the bustling downtown diner in Chicago. The enticing aroma of sizzling pancakes filled the air as she maneuvered between tables, balancing orders like a circus performer. With every step, the weight of her family's survival pressed heavily on her shoulders. At 25, she was not just a waitress but the backbone for her mother and 2 younger siblings. Every dime mattered, but Emily clung to the dreams she'd nurtured ever since her grandmother had first spoken to her in French. She longed to break free from the greasy diner and venture into a life adorned with vibrant languages and opportunities. As the bell above the door jingled, in walked Tom, a towering figure in a tailored suit that screamed wealth. Crossing his arms, he scanned the diner with an air of smugness, interrupting the hum of friendly laughter. "What's the special?" he barked, as if ordering royalty. Emily's heart sank as he plopped down on a stool, his presence filling the room with an overwhelming arrogance. When she approached him with the day's offering, Tom's smirk widened. "You think it's healthy to eat here? This place looks like it hasn't seen a mop in weeks." Each mocking word felt like a dagger, striking at the very core of Emily's already frayed confidence. The diner fell silent, eyes darting between the millionaire and the waitress, irritation brewing among the regulars. She clenched her fists, willing the tears not to spill as she forced a smile, silently wishing for the strength to endure. Yet, amidst this turmoil, a gentle light flickered in the corner of the diner. Mr. Thompson, an elderly veteran with a twinkle in his eye, sat nursing his usual cup of black coffee. He'd heard the entire exchange, and Emily could feel his gaze. They had shared their life stories over many rambles about the town, his adventures in combat and her struggles to lift her family from the brink. He often reminded her, "Emily, every scar tells a story, and they only make you stronger." Her heart warmed a little, a testament to their bond. Before they could dive deeper into conversation, a lively group of international tourists poured into the diner. They seemed puzzled by the menu, laughter becoming a language barrier themselves. Emily's instincts kicked in. With a bright smile, she approached and, without hesitation, began to assist them in fluent French, Spanish, and Mandarin. It was effortless, as if she were meant to speak these words. The shift in the atmosphere was electric. Tom's sneer fell into pure astonishment, his eyes widening as he witnessed the respect flooding in from the group. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As Emily continued, the patrons in the diner shared glances that spoke volumes: admiration, support, revelation. They had witnessed the humiliation Tom placed upon her, and they weren't about to stand by. One brave soul murmured, "Enough is enough." And suddenly others piped in, confronting Tom with a wave of collective anger. The tension crescendoed when they joined forces, demanding respect for their favorite waitress. In that moment, Emily felt the weight of the diner behind her. Their voices bolstered her courage, providing an electrifying current of hope. Would the tide truly turn? Could a simple act of service inspire such unity? The questions lingered in the air, as Emily stood tall, ready to face the shocking climax of the fight for dignity. The energy in the diner shifted, a crackling tension sparking in the air as the patrons rallied behind Emily. Tom's smug demeanor faltered, replaced by confusion and an unmistakable hint of insecurity. He glared at the group, fists clenched tightly on the counter, yet their determination overpowered him like a tidal wave. "Who do you think you are?" he spat, challenging the crowd. But the words fell flat. They were no longer the burn of a punchline, but merely a desperate attempt to regain control as he faced down the collective resolve of dozens who had witnessed his cruelty. Emily's heart raced as she took a step closer to Tom, emboldened by the support of those around her. The regulars who had seen her through countless shifts now looked at her with newfound respect, their eyes filled with encouragement. She felt the years of pent-up dreams flicker like the flame of a candle, ignited by this moment of unity. "I'm a person deserving of respect, just like anyone else," she said, her voice steady, yet thick with emotion. "You may see this diner as a place for poor choices, but it's my home. My family's lifeline." The crowd murmured a chorus of affirmations, echoing their shared sentiments around her. Tom's bravado began to crumble as he met her gaze, and for the first time, he looked uncertain. She could see a flicker of realization crossing his face. The people around him weren't just diners, they were her community, her family. And they would not stand for his humiliation of her. "Just look at them. What do you know about hard work?" A voice rose from the back, and another yelled, "We love this place." The mood inside the diner crescendoed, with clinks of coffee cups and the thuds of fists on tables ringing in solidarity. Every comment, each shout, was like a pulse of empowerment that resonated within Emily. Feeling the collective weight of their words forming a protective barrier around her, Emily pressed on. "I may serve your food, but I also serve your stories, your laughter, your moments of joy." She paused, absorbing the warmth swirling around her. "That's what makes this diner radiant. Not just the meals, but the people who walk through these doors." Tom sat in stunned silence, stripped of his power. The diners turned their attention back to Emily, who now stood under the weight of admiration and newfound strength. She felt transformed, as if the years of dreaming about a bright future threaded right into her spirit. But in the back of her mind was the question that had fueled her throughout her life: could she ever really break free from this life? The thought loomed just as the door swung open again, this time allowing a flood of reporters and cameras into the diner, lured by the commotion. Whispers floated through the crowd, and she felt her pulse quicken. Emily faced them, her heart racing with anticipation and fear. Was this the moment her life could change forever, or just another buzz in the ever-turning wheel of daily life? A part of her wished to vanish into the background, but a stronger part insisted she stand her ground. With a determined breath, Emily moved closer to the camera, knowing this opportunity could shift everything. But what she didn't expect, as the microphone surrounded her, was the question poised to change everything. "Are you ready for the chance to show the world your true potential?" Emily's breath caught in her throat as the reporter's words hung in the air, heavy with possibility. All eyes were on her, cameras flashing, capturing every moment like stars sparked to life in the night. The intensity of the situation sent a jolt through her. This was no longer just her story, it was a chance for her to redefine not just herself, but how others viewed her, too. "Are you ready?" The reporter repeated, leaning closer, eagerness shining in his eyes, as if he already sensed a story bursting to life. "Ready?" The word felt unfamiliar, yet intoxicating. Could she even grasp this moment? Could she transform it into something that mattered? The crowd hushed, leaning in, each face a mirror of hope and encouragement. Would she sink back into her old life or dare to leap into the unknown? The choice was hers, and a sense of clarity washed over her. Emily looked at the faces surrounding her, each one woven with shared experiences, struggles, and victories. They had defied Tom together, now she needed to stand proud. "Yes," she said, her voice louder than she thought it could be. "I'm ready to show the world what I can do." The urgency of her words rallied the diners, cheers erupting as if her declaration was a battle cry. She could see her friends smiling, the old regulars nodding with pride, the waitress standing tall beside her. They believed in her. As the questions came pouring in, Emily felt a warmth spread in her chest. "What do you want to say to those who underestimate you?" A voice called out from the back, the passion evident in every syllable. "People often see me as just a waitress," she began, recalling a lifetime of being overlooked, of being seen as less than simply because of her job. "But I have dreams, just like everyone else. I want to be more. I speak 7 languages, and I want to use those skills to uplift others, to connect across cultures." The reactions were instantaneous. Eyes widened with the surprise of her revelation. Gasps of disbelief followed by applause shattered any doubt lingering in the air. It felt like a wave washing away shadows from her past. She was not only breaking free from Tom's grip, she was tearing down the walls that had confined her dreams. An energetic buzz filled the diner, a sense of extraordinary possibility clinging to the air. What will you do next? Another reporter pressed, an insatiable curiosity sparking in their eyes. I want to teach. I want to show kids, especially those in my neighborhood, that language is power. I want to create a space where they can be heard and celebrated. Her voice cracked momentarily, but it was laced with conviction. The cheering crowd became a backdrop to her vision, woven together in solidarity like stitches in a quilt. Each person brought warmth, color, and hope. In that moment, Emily felt like she could conquer the world. But even as the excitement swirled around her, the flicker of doubt crept back in. Could she really follow through with her ambitions? Just then, Tom stumbled backward, his composure shattered. You think this changes anything? He shouted, desperation edging his voice. But Emily wasn't listening. She was soaring, her dreams spilling out into a reality that awaited her, and as the diner's collective voice soared alongside her dreams, Emily took a breath and locked eyes with the camera once more. No longer just a waitress overshadowed by a local millionaire, she was ready to shift the narrative. But right then, amidst the cheers, her phone buzzed loudly in her pocket, drawing her attention. She looked down, and her heart sank. It was a number she never expected. A chance encounter from the past, someone who could bring her dreams to life, someone who might stake their claim to a future she only dared to imagine. What could this call mean for her? Emily's heart raced as she pulled her phone out of her pocket. The name flashed across the screen like a lightning bolt, illuminating memories she thought were locked away. Mark. They had been more than friends, they'd once shared dreams of traveling the world, speaking to people in their native tongues, and impacting lives. But time and distance had turned those dreams into mere whispers buried in the past. Ignoring the rumble of excitement around her, she swiped to answer. Mark. Her voice was shaky, equal parts thrill and fear. Emily. I saw you on TV. You were incredible. His voice, warm and familiar, wrapped around her like a favorite sweater. I never imagined you'd step into the spotlight like that. Thank you, she murmured, unsure whether to feel ashamed or proud of her sudden fame. I need to talk to you about something, he said, the cheerfulness fading, replaced by urgency. Can we meet? Sure, but what is going on? Anxiety curled in her stomach like a troubled storm cloud. Remember our project idea? The one with language and cultural exchange. I think it could actually work. His words poured out, each syllable bursting with enthusiasm. I'm back in town and I've got resources. Real ones this time. Her mind raced. Suddenly, the weight of Tom's past actions and the chatter of the crowd around her felt distant. Could this be the beginning of everything she had dreamed about? Or merely another distraction? Are you sure? She asked, questioning the timeline of fate. What if it doesn't go anywhere? It will go somewhere, I promise you, Emily. People need what we can create together. His voice held an urgency that poured through the static of her doubts. I want to believe that, she replied, grounding herself. I want to help kids find their voices through language, just like I've fought to find mine. Then let us do this. Mark exclaimed, igniting a spark in her heart. What if they truly could make a difference? But before she could respond, the diner's atmosphere shifted. The cheers, laughter, and clinking of glasses faded into the background as uncertainty loomed closer. She recalled how quickly things could change. Just hours ago, she was standing under Tom's shadow, and now Mark showed up to extend an olive branch. Okay, let us meet tomorrow, she promised, breathing through the mix of excitement and fear swelling inside her. As sunlight dipped below the horizon, painting the diner golden, Emily realized just how precious this moment was. Great. Let's brainstorm and make a plan. I believe in you, he said, and as they recounted old memories and dreams, she could feel her pulse sink with a heartbeat of possibility. As the call ended, she caught a glimpse of Tom, still lingering nearby, his expression dark and stormy. What did it mean that he hadn't left yet? Could he sense the change coursing through her? The roar of the crowd faded again, and an inner storm brewed. Did she have what it took to defy expectations, to break free from Tom's lingering shadows and embrace the paths opening before her? She breathed deeply, staring out at the friendly faces surrounding her. Clenching her fists, she filled herself with resolve. Tomorrow was a chance one she wouldn't waste. But as she glanced out the window, the sky darkening, an uncanny feeling washed over her. She wasn't just stepping into her future. She was treading dangerously close to conflict, and she could sense that Tom was not about to let her go without a fight. Would she have the courage to envision a life beyond resentment, or would the past snatch her back into its clutches? The thought lingered, and with it grew a fierce determination. Tomorrow would change everything. Emily awoke the next morning with the sun streaming in through her window, an urgent energy crackling in the air. Today felt different, the weight of yesterday's doubts and fears seemed lighter, like they had been swept aside by the promise of new beginnings. But the nagging thought of Tom lingered, shadowing her day with uncertainty. As she got ready, her mind raced back to Mark. They had always been a team, chaotic and dream-driven, but a team nonetheless. The possibility of reigniting that spark filled her heart with hope. She needed that hope, especially with Tom still hovering over her like a storm cloud. After breakfast, she paced her small apartment, practicing the words she would use to explain her vision to Mark. "We can create workshops," she muttered, wringing her hands together. "Bring kids together to share stories in different languages." She smiled at the thought, painting vivid pictures of children laughing, learning, and finding common ground through words, but was she really ready? Just a few hours would put her back in the same room as Mark, where old dreams could either be resurrected or dashed against the rocks of reality. She shook off her doubts, reminding herself of the promise she made last night. With her heart pounding, Emily stepped out into the bustling streets. The air was bright and crisp, each breath a reminder of her newfound resolve. She made her way to the cafe where they agreed to meet, the sun hanging high as laughter and chatter from the nearby park danced around her. It felt good to be outside, soaking in life rather than hiding away in fear. When she arrived, Mark was already there, seated at a corner table with a notebook and a steaming cup of coffee. He looked up as she approached, and the smile that spread across his face felt like a beacon, drawing her in. "Emily," he greeted, springing up to give her a quick hug. "I can't believe we're finally doing this." "Me too," she said, settling into a chair, her mind buzzing with excitement. "So, where do we start?" Mark opened his notebook, the pages filled with doodles and ideas. "I've been brainstorming. We could partner with local schools, maybe even community centers. There's so much we can do. Think workshops about different cultures, language barriers, storytelling sessions." He spoke animatedly, igniting something deep within her. With each word he shared, her doubts slipped further away. They discussed ideas, exchanged laughter, and even reminisced about their dreams when they were young. It felt effortless, natural, even liberating, yet, as the conversation flowed, a shadow shifted beyond the cafe's glass window. Emily caught sight of Tom standing across the street, arms crossed, watching closely. Her heart raced, and suddenly, the warmth of the cafe felt stifling. "Hey, are you okay?" Mark asked, sensing her distraction. "Yeah, just." She hesitated, torn between confronting her past and embracing her future. "Do you see that guy?" She nodded toward Tom. Mark turned slightly, a frown creasing his brow. "Is he someone you want in your life?" "I don't know," Emily admitted, anxiety creeping in once more. "He's always made me doubt myself. It's complicated." "That doesn't have to define you," Mark replied, his voice steady. "No one should hold you back, especially if you're on the verge of something amazing." She soaked in his words, feeling the power in them. But doubt still had a firm grip on her heart. The memories of disappointment clung to her, like a shadow she couldn't shake off. As the conversation wound down, Emily felt a fierce urge to take a stand not just for her future but for herself. "Maybe it's time I confront him," she said, her breath quickening. "No more running away." Mark's eyes lit up, filled with encouragement. "You've got this. But remember, you're not doing it alone. Let us face whatever comes next together." In that moment, she felt the weight of a decision shift. She wasn't merely stepping toward her future, she was ready to confront her past. The duality of hope and fear danced in her chest, mingling nervously with excitement. Tom's uncertain presence loomed closer, but Emily found strength in Mark's unwavering support. The cafe buzzed around them, the world still moving outside, completely unaware that today would be a pivotal moment in her life. As she stood up, determination coursed through her veins. This was the blow she needed to deliver, a message not only to Tom but also to herself: she could pave her own path. She took one last breath and nodded toward Mark. "Let us do this, together." But as she stepped outside, the full weight of Tom's gaze bore down on her. Would she truly have the strength she needed to face him? Today, she would find out. Emily's heart pounded as she stepped outside. Each beat echoed the conflict brewing within her. She blinked against the sunlight that felt both warm and blinding. Tom stood a few paces away, a scowl etched across his face. His arms were crossed, and though he seemed impassive, she could feel the tension radiating from him. "Emily," he called out, his voice cutting through the noise of the cafe chatter. Taking a deep breath, she pressed her palms against the sides of her skirt. She needed to hold on to this moment, to remind herself of how far she had come since the last time they spoke. "Tom," she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "Can we talk?" he asked, his brows furrowing deeper. There was a hint of vulnerability in his tone that caught her off guard. "What is there to talk about?" She slid a glance at Mark, who remained inside, watching with concern. "Everything," Tom sighed, his expression shifting slightly. He unfolded his arms, as if the gesture itself was an attempt to bridge the gap between them. "I didn't think you'd ever run away like that," he continued, frustration mixed with regret painting his words. "Run away?" Emily echoed, the disbelief cutting through her anxiety. "You kept dismissing my dreams, Tom. I'm tired of being a footnote in your life." His eyes widened for a moment, and she saw the guilt flicker in them. "I know. I see it now. And I've been selfish. But, I want to change that. I want to make things right." She shook her head, feeling the heat rise within her. "You don't get to just decide that after how you treated me." But as she fought back the tears, a part of her remained conflicted. There was still a tiny spark of hope inside her that things could be wiped clean, that maybe they could find their way back to what they once shared. But Mark's voice chimed in her head, echoing the strength she needed to embrace. "Can I at least explain?" Tom pressed, his voice softer now, as if he were pleading. She saw the edge of frustration in him but also something fragile, something deeply human. "What could you possibly say that would change everything?" She held his gaze, waiting for a real answer. "I was scared, Emily. Scared of losing you before I even knew what we had," he admitted, his voice trembling slightly. "I didn't want to feel anything for you because then I'd have to acknowledge the risk." A silence stretched between them, thick with years of unspoken words. Emily took a step back, her heart racing. A small, faint voice in her head whispered that she could give him one chance, but fear clawed at her gut. Just then, Mark emerged from the cafe. His confident stride brought all the warmth back into the moment. "Hey, are you both okay?" Emily's resolve sharpened as Tom turned to Mark, the tension suddenly escalating. "We were just talking," Tom replied, but his tone suggested he wasn't pleased with the newcomer, but Emily felt this was her moment. "Actually, we were. And I think," Tom, it's time I decided who deserves my time, and it's not someone who doubts me. Each word poured out with clarity, sealing her own resolve. Emily, please, Tom replied, desperation creeping back into his voice. Don't, she cut him off, her voice steady. It's not fair to me. I have a future to build, and I'm starting right now. Mark watched, his expression a mix of pride and concern. She glanced back at him, finding strength in his supportive demeanor. I need to go back to my life, she finished, her heart racing with newfound confidence. And I'm excited about it. She turned away, feeling both exhilarated and vulnerable. This was a new chapter, one where she didn't get to be anyone's shadow. But she wondered, as she walked away, if this was truly the end of Tom in her life or just the beginning of something else waiting in the wings. With a deep breath, she met Mark's encouraging smile, thankful for the unwavering support that sat beside her now. But as they turned to leave, a voice echoed behind them, a voice that made Emily's stomach drop. Wait. What if I could prove I've changed? Her steps faltered. Could it really be that easy? Could she trust him all over again? Just as doubt crept back in, she turned to face Tom. Prove it. And with those two words, everything turned on its head. Emily's pulse quickened, a blend of apprehension and curiosity. Tom looked at her, his eyes wide with desperation, as if he'd just thrown a lifeline into deep waters, praying she wouldn't let go. What are you talking about? She asked, her voice steady but laced with a quiver. He stepped forward, shaking off his earlier bravado. I mean it, Emily. I know I messed up. But I've been doing a lot of thinking. I've started taking classes. I'm working on myself. His eagerness was palpable, the words spilling out with urgency that caught her off guard. Classes? She questioned, an eyebrow raised. Trying to decipher if he really understood the gravity of his past actions. His intentions felt like a jigsaw puzzle, pieces that just didn't quite fit. Tom nodded vigorously. Yeah, about how to communicate better, understand feelings. I didn't take you seriously because I was scared of losing someone like you. It hit me hard after you left. I've been trying to change. She felt an odd mixture of skepticism and a flicker of something she thought she'd buried hope. Change doesn't happen overnight, Tom. I know. He exclaimed, running a hand through his hair, frustration painting his features. But I want to show you. I can prove it if you just give me the chance. Just talk to me, for real. Silence enveloped them as she weighed his words. Mark stood to her side, arms crossed, his expression a guarded mix of encouragement and caution. She could feel his warmth, but Tom's words lingered like shadows around them, pressing against her thoughts. What if you just tell me where you've changed? Emily prompted, her heart racing as she began to soften, letting curiosity surge through her defenses. Tom took a deep breath, visibly steadying himself. Okay, for starters, I've learned to listen. Not just hear, but actively listen. I'm not perfect, and I realize I can't just have things my way. You have dreams and I was blind to them. That wasn't fair to you. At that moment, Emily felt a wave of confusion wash over her. Was it possible he'd made genuine strides? The old wound still ached, but his sincerity seemed to shine through the cracks. I still want to do my photography. I just got an internship at a gallery. It's going to be tough, but I'm ready to hustle for it, she replied with a hint of defiance, testing his commitment. And that's incredible. Tom said, eyes sparkling with newfound admiration. You inspire me to be better. It's like I see now how important your dreams are, and I want to be part of them. I want to be someone who uplifts you, not pushes you down. Emily's heart fluttered. Could she dare to believe him? Okay, what's the first thing we do if you really want to prove it? She challenged, crossing her arms, half hopeful, half doubtful. Let me join you at your gallery opening, he proposed, a spark of enthusiasm lighting his features. Let me be there for you, supporting you. I want to appreciate your art, not overshadow it. But just as the possibilities started swirling in her mind, she recalled how easily trust could fracture. It's not just about attending an event, Tom. It's about consistency. I can't go back to how it was. I promise I won't, he insisted, his voice softer now. If you let me in. I know I need to prove it every day, not just this once. Emily took a step back, weighing it all. Could she take that risk again? The future felt murky, with nothing certain except her desire to keep moving forward. A rush of indecision flooded her mind. Behind her, Mark watched closely, as if waiting for her verdict. Would she open that door again, or simply close it for good? Give me time to think, Emily finally said, her voice barely a whisper. As she turned to walk away with Mark, dread gnawed at her. Could she really imagine Tom in her future again? And just as doubt began to settle in, his next words froze her in place. Just know, I'll be here waiting. I'll prove to you I'm worth that chance. A thread of uncertainty pulled at her, wrapping tighter around her heart. This felt like a precipice. Could she jump? And what would await her on the other side? The weight of his promise hung in the air, heavy with possibility. Emily took a deep breath. Then let us see what you've got. With those words, she stepped into an uncertain future, ready to confront whether Tom truly had transformed or if it would all come crashing back down. The gallery was bustling with energy as the evening approached. Emily stood in front of a giant canvas, the colors swirling together, reflecting the chaos and beauty of her own emotions. A bittersweet thrill rushed through her as she prepared for the opening night. Friends and family were filtering in, and the chatter filled the air like the sweet notes of a song. But one lingering thought tugged at her heart: would Tom show up? She glanced at her phone, the screen dark and unyielding. 3 hours had passed since their conversation, and she caught herself imagining all the different scenarios. Was he just being sincere, or was this another trap set to break her heart again? Mark sauntered over, a glass of wine in hand. You okay? He asked, noticing her distant gaze. Yeah, just thinking, she replied, forcing a smile. About Tom. Emily, he said softly, you don't have to feel pressure to open that door if you're not ready. I get that you want to give him a chance, but you need to protect yourself too. She nodded, his words grounding her even as doubts swirled like the vibrant brushstrokes on her canvas. Just keep your heart in check, Mark urged. You've worked hard for this moment, and you deserve to shine, no matter who is here. Before she could respond, the door swung open. The crowd parted like the sea, and there he stood. Tom. His casual attire against the backdrop of the elegant venue screamed of contrast. But in his eyes, she saw something different, something raw, utterly sincere. Emily. He called out, making his way through the sea of attendees. Her heart raced. A chill of excitement and anxiety coursed through her. Tom, she replied, her voice steady despite the eruption of emotions swirling within her. He took a moment to catch his breath, the nervousness visible in his fidgeting hands. This place is incredible. You really did this, he gestured to her artwork, the admiration evident in his voice. Thanks. It's been a lot of work, she acknowledged, searching for the right words. Tom stepped closer, his gaze earnest. I meant what I said earlier. I'm here to support you, and I care about you. Just give me a chance to show you. His earnestness pierced through her doubts, but then flickered into the shadows of her memories. She needed to know how he'd handle the pressure. Are you ready for this? To really support me? Because it won't be easy, she challenged lightly, searching his eyes for a glimpse of conviction. I would be honored to be part of your journey, he stated, his tone steady. I want to learn from you, how you see the world. It's beautiful. As the night wore on, conversations bubbled around them. They basked in the joy of art, laughter drifting like whispers in the wind. Each brushstroke on the canvas seemed to connect them, weaving a tapestry of possibility and memories, but just as Emily began to breathe more easily, her gaze landed on Mark across the room. He was deep in conversation, eyes darting between her and Tom. A flicker of worry clouded his usually confident demeanor. "Are you sure about this?" he mouthed, concern etched on his face. The tension mounted as Emily wrestled with her feelings. Tom was being everything she'd hoped, yet uncertainty loomed like a storm cloud over her happiness. She turned back to Tom, ready to take a step toward clarity. But before the moment could solidify, an abrupt crash silenced the room. A nearby display, a gorgeous glass sculpture, had toppled to the floor. Shock rippled through the crowd, everyone turned, wide-eyed. Emily's heart sank as she realized what was happening, the noise, the chaos threatening to unearth her fragile resolve. Not now, she thought as her chest tightened. Would their connection survive this unexpected storm? As they all stared at the damage, she knew that decision time was looming closer than ever. Would she fall back into her safety net or allow herself to leap into this swirling unknown? And just as the silence began to settle around the shattered glass, Tom reached for her hand, a glimmer of determination in his eyes. "Whatever happens, I'll be here with you," he promised, but would that be enough when everything was on the line? The answer hung in the air, heavy and charged, waiting for the next move, waiting for the next page to turn. The crowd buzzed with murmurs, each gasp echoing in the sudden stillness. Emily felt the weight of suffocating uncertainty. The shattered glass glimmered on the floor like tiny stars, scattered and lost, mirroring her thoughts. "Are you okay?" Tom whispered, squeezing her hand, grounding her momentarily in his warmth. Taking a deep breath, she nodded, though her heart thundered wildly against her ribcage. "I'm fine," she lied, the words slipping out like a thin veil over her turmoil. This night was supposed to shine, to celebrate her, and here they were confronted by a mess that could unravel everything. Mark straightened up from the chaos, his worry morphing into determination as he rushed over. But a surge of annoyance flared inside Emily. Couldn't he see she was trying to carve out a moment with Tom? She shot him a glance laced with frustration. "Just let me breathe," was the plea hidden behind her eyes. "Let us clean this up," Mark said, his voice steady as he surveyed the room. "Everyone, please step back." Emily watched as guests exchanged whispering glances, unsure whether to intervene or simply stare. This was her show, but somehow, it felt like a play spiraling off script. Tom didn't release her hand, his grip was reassuring. She drew in comfort from that touch, from the pulsing connection, a promise that he wouldn't bail at the first glimpse of trouble. "Shouldn't we help?" she asked Tom softly. "No," he replied, eyes focused. "You shouldn't have to worry about any of this. It's your night." She appreciated his support, but a familiar tug of doubt crept in. "But what if Emily," he interrupted gently, "this isn't about the accident. It's about what you've created here." His sincerity felt like a lifeline. Yet a flicker of doubt still danced in her chest. Had he really changed? Or was he just right here because there were no obstacles between them at this moment? The gallery lights glinted, and as the crowd slowly resumed their activities, opting for softer conversations, Emily felt the tide pulling her inward again. She hadn't asked for Tom's support, yet here he was, a staunch figure amidst the chaos she never anticipated. "Do you want to step outside?" he suggested, glancing toward the gallery's exit, inviting. "Maybe we can. I don't know, talk without all of this." Emily hesitated, torn between the burning need to connect and the fear of what lay beyond her comfort zone. The way he looked at her, the gentle inquiry in his eyes, made her heart flutter. "Yes," she finally whispered, the decision blooming against her chest like the first light of dawn. "Good," he smiled, offering a sense of calm warmth. They stepped outside into the soft evening air, the world pulsating with a delicate hum, still carrying faint echoes of the crowd behind them. Her heart raced again, but this time with hope overlapping uncertainty. The moon hung low, casting a silver glow around them as Emily felt alive in that fragile moment, but as they moved to the quieter side of the gallery, she remembered Mark's worried face. Was she being foolish to let go, to embrace something she wasn't sure of? Emily, Tom's voice brought her back, piercing through her jumbled thoughts. I meant what I said. I really care about you. The intensity in his voice stirred something deep inside her, a yearning, a flicker of trust, but was caring enough when the shadows of the past loomed over their future. Would it be truly different this time? In that moment, she sensed the enormity of her decision, the tension hanging thicker than the night air. Her heart beat in powerful rhythms, urging her to leap even when trepidation whispered for her to hold back. As questions loomed, heavy and unresolved, she stared into Tom's eyes. The moment felt fragile, like the pieces of glass inside the gallery. Just tell me one thing, she said, the urgency prickling her nerves. What do we do now? Tom took a long breath, a spark of determination in his gaze. We take it one step at a time, together. With her heart in her throat, Emily could only wonder if they were truly ready for that journey. And just as hope began to flicker in her chest, a startling noise interrupted their moment. A loud argument had erupted among the remaining guests. Would this night spiral even further into discord? Emily's heart raced as the argument pierced the air, a cacophony of voices clashing like thunder. Uncertainty threatened to drown out her newfound hope, but she joyfully held on to Tom's hand, letting his warmth ground her. As she turned back to the gallery, the chaos echoed starkly against the clarity she had just found. Let us go back, she said, feeling the panic rise, worry threading through her thoughts like a dark cloud. Not yet, Tom replied, his voice steady. You've worked too hard for this moment. You deserve to enjoy it. Let us stay outside until it settles. That simple reassurance ignited a spark of defiance in her. He was right, this was her night to shine. She took a deep breath, leaning into the moment that she long thought was unreachable. Okay, let us do this, she asserted, cheeks flushed with determination. They moved to a small bench outside, the cool air rushing against them. The conversations inside faded into a low hum, and for a moment, it felt just like old times, a sanctuary where everything else fell away. Emily, about everything I said before, Tom began, the weight of unsaid apologies heavy in his tone. I realize I took your passion for granted. I never appreciated how much you were juggling until you stepped away. I've reflected so much on what I lost. She nodded, not wanting to break this moment with ironclad defenses. I'm glad you see that now, she replied, her voice softening, but I need to know how it's different now. You've got to show me. Tom leaned forward, conviction swirling in his gaze. Look, I'm here because I know I was wrong. I want to support your dreams fully every step of the way. If it means being there at your gallery openings, cheering you on, I'm all in. No shadows this time. Those words ignited a flame within her she thought had dimmed. She could see it in his eyes, the earnestness, the longing to be better. And it's not just about me, right? She probed gently. It's about us growing to be better together. Tom nodded, the seriousness curling his lips into a slight smile. Look, let me prove it. Let us do this journey as partners, both of us willing to learn. But can we vacuum the past away? She pressed, still cautious. Can we push it aside and forgive? Because trust is built with actions, not just words. Their eyes locked for unbroken seconds that felt like eternity. I know you're right. I won't let you down again, he promised, a vulnerability shrouded around him that made it hard to let go of the fear. Suddenly, the door swung open, and Mark rushed out, concern painted on his face. Hey! Is everything okay? Emily shot him a reassuring glance. We're good, just talking. Talking? Or reconciling? He raised an eyebrow, offering cautious skepticism. Both, Tom answered confidently, squeezing Emily's hand a little tighter. I'm done running from my fears. I want her to know that I'm serious about this. Mark looked between them, his expression shifting to one of cautious approval, finally allowing a nod of empathy. All right. Just know, I'm here for you, Emily. Don't forget that. If he breaks your heart, I'll be the first to make him sorry. Emily chuckled, grateful for Mark's unwavering support. Trust me, I won't forget. The gallery lights shone brightly, illuminating possibilities, and together, the three of them stepped back inside, the chaos now simmering to soft conversations as the crowd picked up the pieces. Tom released a breath he didn't know he was holding and grinned. Let us celebrate this. Emily, buoyed by the strength radiating around her, thought about how far she had come. This was a new beginning, an opportunity to blend her art, her dreams, and maybe even her heart with someone ready to appreciate it all. Throughout that night, smiles mingled with laughter, applause echoed, and the connection they sealed began to feel like unbreakable threads of fate. As she stood amidst her creations, joy washing over her, she felt a new world boundary crumbling away. Emily's future was becoming a spectrum of color and connection, and she couldn't wait to engulf it. After hours spent laughing and sharing stories, when the night finally quieted, Emily glanced at Tom. I sincerely hope you meant what you said. I did, he offered. And I will prove it every single day. She found the tremor of hope fluttering through her. Maybe this time, they really were ready to face the future together. In that unfolding journey of unity, Emily knew the past was a lesson, but it could never overshadow the beauty that was yet to come. And as the world twinkled against the backdrop of the night, she dared to believe in a life illuminated by dreams once hidden, now coming to light. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share your reactions in the comments. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Join the journey now.